This one happened in a small village near a dense forest, where there was a tale whispered among the villagers, a tale of love, loss, and a spirit that wandered the earth searching for something that it could never seem to find. The story was told with a mix of fear and sadness, for it spoke of a young bride who had died tragically on her wedding day. Her heart broken and her spirit restless, she became known as the Ghost Bride, figure of mystery and sorrow who roamed the village and its surrounding woods. Her presence felt but was rarely seen. On the day of her wedding, the village had been filled with joy and celebration. The bride, Anna, was loved by all. Her beauty was renowned, and her kindness knew no bounds. But as she waited in her bridal gown, her heart full of hope and love, tragedy struck. Her groom, a young warrior named Jake, was killed in a sudden and brutal attack by bandits on his way to the ceremony. The news reached Anna just as she was about to walk down the aisle. The shock and grief were too much for her to bear, and she collapsed, never to rise again. Since that day, the villagers spoke of seeing Anna's spirit wandering the forest, her white bridal gown glowing softly in the moonlight, her face a mask of eternal sorrow. She was searching, they said, for her lost love, unable to find peace until they were reunited. But as the years passed, her search seemed endless, and the villagers grew accustomed to the eerie presence that haunted their land. Wait, before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and leave us with your comments, what you think we should do and we are not doing. All suggestions are welcome. Thank you. Now back to the story. Years after the tragedy, the village continued to thrive, but the tale of the Ghost Bride lingered like a shadow over the people. The elders would warn the children not to venture too deep into the woods at night, for fear of encountering the restless spirit. But as time went on, the villagers began to accept Anna's presence as part of their lives. She was a reminder of the fragility of happiness, how quickly love could be taken away. But not everyone in the village believed the story. Among the skeptics was a young man named Kwame. He was a rational thinker, more interested in the practical matters of life than in ghost stories. Kwame was known for his intelligence and resourcefulness, always finding solutions to the problems that others couldn't solve. He had grown up hearing the story of the Ghost Bride, but he had never seen any evidence of her existence and dismissed it as mere superstition. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the village was bathed in the soft glow of twilight, Kwame decided to put the legend to the test. He had heard from the villagers that the Ghost Bride was most often seen near the old oak tree in the forest, the place where Anna and Jake had often met in secret before their engagement was announced. Kwame, curious but unconvinced, set off toward the tree, determined to prove once and for all that the tale was nothing more than a ghost story. As he walked through the forest, the light faded quickly, and the shadows grew longer. The sounds of the village faded behind him, replaced by the rustling of leaves and the occasional hoot of an owl. Kwame was undeterred. He was not one to be easily frightened, and he pressed on, his thoughts focused on the task at hand. When he reached the old oak tree, the moon had risen, casting a silver light through the branches. The tree was ancient, its roots twisting deep into the earth, branches stretching high into the sky. Kwame stood before it, looking around for any sign of the Ghost Bride. The forest was silent, and there was no trace of the spirit. Feeling a mix of relief and disappointment, Kwame turned to leave. But just as he took a step away from the tree, cold winds swept through the forest, and the temperature dropped suddenly. He stopped in his tracks, his breath visible in the air. Then, out of the corner of his eye, he saw a faint, glowing figure standing near the tree. Kwame's heart skipped a beat as he turned to face the apparition. There, bathed in the pale light of the moon, was Anna. Her white bridal gown flowed around her like mist, and her eyes, though filled with sorrow, seemed to be searching for something, or someone. She looked at Kwame, her expression a mixture of longing and despair. For a moment, they simply stared at each other, neither moving nor speaking. Then, as quickly as she had appeared, Anna began to fade, her form dissolving into the night air. Kwame stood frozen, unable to comprehend what he had just witnessed. The Ghost Bride was real, the legend was true, but before he could fully process what had happened, she was gone, leaving only the cold air and the rustling leaves behind. Shaken, Kwame returned to the village, his mind racing. He had set out to disprove a ghost story, but instead, he had come face to face with the very spirit he had doubted. As he lay in bed that night, he couldn't shake the image of Anna's sorrowful eyes, nor the feeling that she was trying to tell him something. He realized that the story of the Ghost Bride was more than just a tale of tragedy. It was a plea for help, Over the next few days, Kwame couldn't stop thinking about the encounter. He began to see the story of Anna and Jake in a new light. It wasn't just a story of loss, but of love that had been cruelly interrupted. Anna's spirit was trapped in a state of endless searching, unable to find peace because she had been torn away from her love before they could be together. Kwame knew that if Anna was to find peace, she needed help to complete her journey and reunite with Jake. How could he, a mere mortal, help a spirit find her lost love? Kwame pondered this question endlessly, till one evening, as he sat by the fire in his small home, inspiration struck. The old oak tree was the key. It was where Anna and Jake had spent many of their happiest moments, where their love had blossomed. Perhaps it was also where their love could be restored. Kwame decided to return to the tree, but this time, he would not go empty-handed. He remembered that Anna had always worn a small, delicate pendant around her neck, a gift from Jake. The villagers had told him that after her death, the pendant had been buried with her, a symbol of their unfulfilled love. If he could find the pendant and bring it to the tree, perhaps it would help guide Anna's spirit to Jake. Determined to help the ghost bride find peace, Kwame visited the village elder, a wise woman named Nana Ama, who had been present at Amina's burial. After hearing Kwame's story, Nana Ama agreed to help him locate the pendant. Together, they visited the small, overgrown cemetery where Anna had been laid to rest. The grave was simple, marked by a weathered stone with her name engraved on. With Nana Ama's guidance, Kwame carefully unearthed the pendant, still glowing faintly with the love it had once symbolized. That night, Kwame returned to the old oak tree, pendant clutched tightly in his hand. Forest was once again quiet, moonlight filtering through the leaves. As he approached the tree, the air grew cold, and he knew that Anna was near. Standing before the ancient tree, Kwame held up the pendant, allowing the moonlight to catch its delicate surface. "Anna," he called softly, "I have brought you something that was taken from you too soon. Your love was not lost, only delayed. Let this guide you to Jake so that you may find the peace you deserve." For a moment, nothing happened. The forest remained silent, the air still. But then, slowly, the glowing figure of Anna appeared once more, her eyes fixed on the pendant in Kwame's hand. She reached out, her ethereal fingers brushing against the pendant. As she did, a soft light began to emanate from the tree. Kwame watched in awe as the light grew brighter, surrounding Anna in a warm, golden glow. Her expression softened, the sorrow in her eyes replaced by something else. Hope. The pendant began to glow as well, and a gentle breeze stirred the leaves, as if the forest itself was sighing in relief. In that moment, a second figure appeared beside Anna, a tall, strong figure dressed in the traditional garments of a warrior. It was Jake, his spirit finally reunited with his beloved. He took Anna's hand, and together they smiled, the love they had been denied in life now shining brightly between them. Kwame stepped back, giving the reunited lovers space. He knew that his task was complete, that he had helped bring an end to the ghost bride's sorrowful wandering. As Anna and Jake's spirits began to fade, merging with the light of the tree, Kwame felt a deep sense of peace settle over the forest. Ghost Bride was no more. Only the memory of her love remained, a love that had transcended even death. The next morning, the villagers awoke to a sense of calm that had not been felt in years. The tale of the Ghost Bride, once a story of tragedy and loss, come to a close. Kwame shared his experience with the village, explaining how love, even when interrupted by tragedy, could never truly be destroyed. Anna and Jake's love had endured beyond death, and with the help of a kind soul, they had found the peace they deserved. From that day on, the old oak tree became a place of quiet reflection, where villagers would go to remember the power of love and the importance of helping others find their way. The story of the Ghost Bride was passed down through generations, not as a tale of sorrow, but as a reminder that love, when true, is eternal and redemptive. Kwame himself became a respected figure in the village, known not just for his intelligence, but for his compassion and willingness to believe in the power of love. The lesson he had learned was simple yet profound. Even in the face of the unknown, it is love and kindness that can bring light to the darkest of places. As the years passed, the story of the Ghost Bride faded into legend, but the oak tree stood tall, a living testament to the power of love and the enduring bond between Anna and Jake. And for those who were willing to listen, the tree still whispered the tale of a love that defied time, a love that found redemption and peace through the kindness of a single, caring soul. Thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. We need it. Until then, see you in our next video.